Rytes. It's hard to pay attention in a conversation, and sometimes people find themselves in a position that's either vulnerable or drawn for a put down. And if you don't know what Rytes are, you're in trouble. I'm here to help. A right is a terminology that I personally came up with. It sort of means what people have the right to do, or can at least have an excuse to do so. It ties a lot into social locks, and if you haven't watched my previous video on that, you should check that out first. So you don't necessarily have to have the right to do anything, but I use rights as a term to help you understand much clearer. In order to break the rules of rights, you must first learn them and what they can do. So rights are sort of an implication of or an excuse to do something. You can show a facial expression a certain way to express a right. If you make a serious face in a conversation, you now have right to be serious. If you smile or laugh too much with a stranger that you just met, you can lose certain rights and become vulnerable. So be careful with rights and what you imply. You can think of rights as the right to do something. It's sort of like that. It will become clear what I mean later. Now let's say somebody with a ghetto look or baggy clothing starts walking in your direction. If he sees that you saw him, especially with the vibe he gives off, he might try to have right to be disturbing or rebellious. Do you get it? He doesn't really have the right to do that, but he might have right. Two different things. I personally keep walking and chill in this situation, and I pave no pathway to give him any right or any excuse to do something stupid. I maybe look at him, then look away. Not afraid or anything, but just to treat him like everybody else. It's important to not give right for any bad motion to anybody. Don't give people an excuse to start something. Make sure people don't develop bad rights. Let's get into how this ties into peer pressure. Let's say you are chatting with a friend and maybe one you barely know. And you are a nice person, so maybe you want to give him or her the impression that you are friendly and welcoming. So it's a good conversation and energy is thrown here and there every now and then, maybe because you are exchanging jokes or making fun of somebody. You are smiling a lot. In fact, you are over smiling and laughing, throwing your energy off balance a lot. You are now in a social lock, and the only way out would be to find a way to cool off your energy, to tone it down a bit. But for some reason you find that you can't stop smiling. If in this situation he is a guy that is someone you don't know that well, he might be compelled to invite himself in and start to control you. He doesn't even know he's doing it, which is the sad part. He's just making up for the lost energy that's off balance. So you are over smiling, and now you've given him right to step too close to you, maybe even control you. If he asks maybe to come by your place, it's going to be very difficult to say no, but you have to reposition yourself. You've smiled and laughed too much, and now it's time to find a way back to solid ground. Create a right to excuse yourself and say you can't. I recommend to give a slight smile, but not too much when you say no or you can't. Sometimes I even give a serious cool face. Trust me, a serious face can be played cool if you practice. The goal in a conversation is to open up as many rights as you can. Good rights, I mean. You're a good person, I hope. Personally, when I meet strangers, I never over smile or laugh, and if I ever do, I never drop any rights. I keep them very close to me because I've studied this a lot. The right to say no thanks, the right to laugh, the right to be serious. Keep balance and rights in check every time you go out. Here's another example of rights and peer pressure. You have this friend you know, and for some reason you still want to hang out with him, even when he tends to put you down a lot. You still like him, so it's fine, but it's best to fix that pattern. So you're out of Starbucks with him, and you guys joke and tease at each other, calling each other stupid. I don't know why people do this nowadays. I never call my friends stupid, but most people nowadays still do this for some odd reason. It's going to be difficult to develop a right to stop the teasing, and it's getting a little annoying for you. And it's awkward, since you know he's paying attention to it too. He wants to stop it too, that's what I mean. I recommend distracting both of you by talking of something else, maybe something serious, and usually emotion dies down. Now let's say you guys take turns putting each other down in this joking fashion. Let's say he skips a turn and wants to cool down. It's now awkward, and you are now compelled to make up for the awkwardness by putting him down with a joke. Now that was your fault. He tried to escape from this, and you couldn't control yourself and the energy. It's best in this situation that if you want to stop it, you give right by making a serious cool face. Make sure he can see your serious face to let him know that you are sorry. If you're like me and have a serious cool face all the time, you might have to make him notice another way. So this was peer pressure, and without the knowledge of rights and how to keep them close to you, you will certainly most run into a social lock and crash. It's important to keep as much good rights as you can. The ability to say no and laugh in one mentality, one facial expression as the base root. I've been practicing myself, and in any situation I can say no and laugh just by giving one facial expression, maybe just a slight change when I laugh. But never over the line and never giving any rights away. Only overlap with close friends and people you really know, so you can trust them to not put you down. If you are solid, there's no way for anybody to take advantage of you. And no rights can ever be created as long as you study. And there is no way for you to become peer pressured, and hopefully you can give right to prevent others from becoming peer pressured as well. Let's do another situation so it's clear to you what rights are. Let's say you are just an ordinary person that dresses cool, but not bold enough to be called ghetto or a hippie or anything like that stands out. And let's say you run into someone who is bold. They are compelled to act or brag a certain way, maybe trying to top you off a little bit, but no harm is done. What kind of rights are you compelled to express? How do you think it would go down? Let's say he takes you as the quiet type and talks to you like he's giving you a lesson or trying to give you some advice to be more outgoing or talkative. He thinks you're quiet and won't respond to him with a noticeable voice. Then suddenly you show him you are not quiet and talk loud and clearly. Motion just got funny. He's now in a position he isn't a mentor anymore, and now you have the right to talk normally without letting people pressure you. Not that he ever tried to though. He senses that too and tries to be cool with it. Since you spoke up, you've created more rights. You can now laugh, say no, even mentor him if you like. Laugh hysterically even, but that would make the motion very awkward. It's a shame this situation started the way it did, but things like that happen, and I personally excuse it. But you see how more rights opened up? All you did was talk clearly. It was he that implied that you're quiet, and you're not. Now, you didn't even have to talk to keep your rights, which is why I said you first have to understand the rules in order to break them. People shouldn't have to feel the need to give rights in order to act. Practice makes perfect. If you explore on your own, it would be great. Practice giving off the right that you are quiet, then talk loudly. Notice what happens. Practice giving off the right that you are loud, then talk quiet. Study the rights you have and the ones that open up to you. Keep them all close and you'll become flexible and be able to express yourself any way you like. Open up as much rights as possible. You want to be able to handle any situation life throws at you. Stay flexible. I'm Brother Benson, and I hope you guys liked the video. I hope you guys watch it multiple times to study it, and I promise it will craft you into adults and become more suited for this world. Thank you guys, and don't forget to like, share, study, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.